You're on.
Okay, this is, meeting of the Fair Rent Commission. It's now open. This is not a regular meeting, it's a special meeting. I presume we are looked at our past minutes. And we reviewed them and there was no objection I've seen on the internet. We need to have an attendance called, be sure that we're all here.
Kevin Hayes,
I'm here in person.
Steve Farrell. Donna Isley,
Here.
Travis Lipinski. Scott McConnell,
Here.
Connie Quinn, present.
We got people on video?
Not yet. No,
Okay, so there's nobody there. All right, so I don't have to worry about turning that. All right, so this is, let's go right to the minutes and see what we have to do next.
Minutes are not on the agenda.
Okay.
This is the special meeting.
All right.
Next meeting.
All right, we got that, but I was hoping. All right, so the motion, let's have a little motion to we'll have a motion to open a hearing to investigation of a complaint.
so moved.
Good. That's the corner.
You need to figure that out before you take votes.
Do we have a quorum? Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
There's six
Four is a
on the
quorum.
board.
Okay, we do have a quorum. All right, so.
Did
we
you,
need-
did you get a vote on that?
No, that's what I'm asking for right now. We need a motion to invest,
First.
to open a hearing to have an investigation of the complaint.
There was a motion and there was a second.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
So the first one, which one is?
So
the
now
first?
call a vote.
Oh,
You have to say all in favor.
Oh, I think I did.
No, you didn't.
Oh, all in favor, or somebody said, oh, let's see.
Aye.
All right, good. All right, which one are we listed as first?
Your turn.
Which one?
Your turn.
Your turn. We have a number assigned to them. We have a number assigned.
Do you have a copy of the complaint? That's not the complaint. Here.
Yeah, complaint, but I don't have a
So,
date on it.
right, so I don't think that the city clerk
Okay,
put a number on this, but I believe it's 24-3. FRC 24-3, because one other complaint came in after that. That's not the subject of the hearing today, and that was FRC 24-4.
all right, so we have complaint number 24-3. The names are Mella Rocco.
This is not the complaint. That's not the complaint. This is the complaint.
Mella Rocco. So I have the same name.
No, but this,
That is the first one.
this is the complaint.
Yes.
Stay with me now. This is a stipulated agreement that they entered into in the Superior Court in connection with an eviction. That's what
Yes.
this is.
Yes,
This is what we're here on today.
yes, but the names are the same, correct?
Okay, go ahead.
Uric and Melaron. Melaron? How do you pronounce that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, beautiful. Excuse me?
Your
You're second. Okay, thank you.
Your check.
All right, we have a quick summary of the complaint. And that is notification of given a rent increase. So, we got a rules of the hearing before we even go any farther. Rules of the hearing are, you cannot speak to you cannot ask the commissioners questions. The commission may ask you questions. No new allegations can be made at the hearing. Parties may cross-examine each other and or other witnesses. The tenant has the burden of proof and presents their evidence first. Landlord then presents their evidence. tenant may, but is not required to, rebut. Both parties may introduce evidence such as documents, testimony, which are subject to objections by the opposing party after completion of their statements. All testimony will be under oath, and the oath will be administered to you. All right, who's gonna, think you were gonna,
Can I ask one procedural question?
okay,
Is the only issue whether the rent being asked for is fair, or are there other issues as far as the types of complaints made about the condition of the property?
well, that's all be listed here on the complaint form.
That's
Did you
all
get a copy?
germane.
Did you get a copy of the complaint?
I
form?
did. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So you're not blind to any information,
No, we have that.
okay,
Let me jump in. So there are 13 factors that are considered. So I don't know if have you reviewed the, I know it's not on the website yet, but did I share with you the,
About a half an hour ago, I went on the website and I saw the enactment that created this body and saw what
those 13 elements are?
jurisdictions. I don't remember the 13 things, but I have seen. some
Okay.
of that.
Well, there's 13 elements that the commission considers in determining whether the proposed increase is fair and equitable. And condition of the premises comes into play there.
Thank you.
I'll take that back from you then.
Oh, okay.
you want to administer the oath, or do you want me to do
You're the chairman, boy.
it? All right, so.
You have to be authorized to administer an oath?
I want, I'm
I'm a JP, Joe.
You're a JP.
Yeah.
You can administer an oath. Are you a JP?
no, I'm just,
You have an oath?
yes. Says oath. Please answer the people that will be
To
speaking with
both,
the
to
yes
both
or no.
parties, do you solemnly swear and sincerely affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, under penalty of false statement?
I do.
Very good. Here we go.
When the complaints are done. So start with then the tenant, and that's where the burden of proof lies, correct? We'll be starting with them, correct? That's where the
Yeah,
burden of
that's
proof
what you
lies.
said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you,
The tenant is over here.
oh, I don't know who is who.
I'm
So,
the tenant, I'm your,
okay, can you please present your case?
do I come to the table?
Whatever, yes, whatever you're most comfortable with.
Is that the case? I have a number of documents, different things that I'd have to give out. First of all, I'd like to thank the Fair Rent Commission for this opportunity to present my case. These guys, this is for you guys. You want me to hand it to you individually?
No.
As we're
So
up-
what, the way you handle the evidence is show Attorney Eversole whatever it is you want to introduce, and he gets an opportunity to either agree that it can be introduced or he can object to it, and then the chairman makes a ruling on whether to admit it or not.
Each time we do it or in the end?
No, before it's admitted, before,
Oh, okay, okay.
how about this, Mr. Yurchik? Why don't you briefly just give a summary to the commission of what your complaint is?
My complaint is I received this letter stating the rent was going from $1,400 to $2,400. That's the gist of it. I have here the lease.
Okay, so let's stop. So would you like the commission to accept this letter as a piece of
You already
evidence?
have a copy?
No,
Okay,
no.
well, yes, I would like.
So
that
I know
to
I
accept.
have a copy and the commission maybe has a copy if it was attached to your complaint, but now you're asking us to introduce it as a piece of evidence here.
I have no objection.
Okay. So hand it to the
Okay,
chair
thank you.
and you can mark that. Tenants Exhibit 1. And your testimony is that this is the notification you were given about the increase in your rent.
Via registered mail.
Okay,
I have the lease here.
do you have a copy of the lease that doesn't have all the highlighting on it?
No, I don't.
Oh, that's got highlighting on it
Yeah.
too?
It's just so I could find excerpts quickly and easily.
Okay, so let Attorney Eversole take a look at that, and then he'll tell you whether he objects to that being admitted.
Okay, I have no objection to this coming in, but I'd like to point out that this lease ran from May 1st, 2022 to May, 1 year later. So this lease is actually expired and he's been in the property on a month-to-month basis since then.
Okay, so you object to that? Or?
Well,
you just wanna
I don't know what
explain?
he wants to admit this for, because those terms are not really, and there's no provision as there sometimes is in a lease saying that in the event that there's a holdover, that the terms of the lease continue. So
Okay,
since this doesn't say that the terms do continue, I would say that these terms are not really relevant here.
so you would object to that?
I would object.
Okay, on the basis that that's not a lease under which he's occupying the property now, that he's occupying on a month-to-month basis?
Correct.
Okay. You want to answer to that?
Well, the court stipulation from the previous court hearing said that I have to abide by the last signed lease.
Okay, do you have a copy of the stipulation? Let me help you out, just to expedite things. Do you
Yep.
object? Okay.
Thank you.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, show that to Attorney Eversole.
Okay, so although this stipulation states that he will abide by the terms of the lease, this lease does not cover the period that we're in now. So
Well, what lease is the stipulation referring to? then?
probably that lease, but the
Okay.
fact of the matter is that lease expired in May of 2023.
Okay. Let's start with that stipulation. Do you have an objection to the stipulation coming in?
I do not.
Okay, so let's mark that Tenants Exhibit 2. So Attorney Eversole's objecting to the lease. You heard what his objection is, and you need to decide whether to sustain or overrule his objection and either exclude that lease or admit it.
I think we're gonna accept it. And then we can really, after we look at all the rest of either the court proceeding, or we review that we can see how it truly matches. Each of us will have the opportunity to.
Okay, right now, all you're saying is
So,
you're gonna admit the
We'll
lease.
admit to that.
Okay. Mark that tenants exhibit 3.
And what do you have next, though?
Could I go over the items in the lease that I'm?
You can present whatever testimony and evidence you want.
Okay, page 5 of the lease. Number 11. Not open or used in-ground swimming pool located on leased premises, nor allow any person or pet to walk on said pool cover at any time. Not use of fireplace located in the dwelling at the leased premises for the purpose of lighting a fire for or any other purposes. Not use the attic in the dwelling at the
Okay,
least.
Okay,
he's the chair, but what's the point of you reading all those?
thank you.
Well, first of all, he's renting me a place, but I'm only getting 65% of it, 70% of it. Because he's barring these items.
But this was when you originally signed the lease.
No, this is 2 years, this is the third lease. Then he never presented me with a new lease.
Did it change?
No,
Okay. So
this
you-
is the last
so you
signed
knew you
lease.
couldn't be using those things.
No,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that I'm not getting full use of the house. I'm getting a portion of the house. And the attic could not be used, nor the shed in the backyard. He's saying the place is worth $2,700 a month, but none of these things are available for use.
Okay, anything else? What do you have?
One of the major problems here in this rent is the hot water. You could see here the temperature of the hot water coming out of the.
Go to Attorney Eversole first.
You have to spoke to them first to see if that's truly your place or not.
He doesn't know.
And have you heard that we're gonna object to this on the basis that if this purports to show what the temperature of the water is, this is not the correct way to determine what the temperature of the water is. You're supposed to put the water in a container and then take the picture. And also I'll add, this problem we fixed, so I don't know how.
No one
We'll
ever-
get to that.
No one ever.
Why don't you just testify about what the issue is with the water?
Water's too hot. 175 degrees coming out of the faucet. The state code is 140 degrees. Underwear in the washing machine, I have to replace every 4 months because the excessive hot water ruins the elastic bands. Use the dishwasher. Things come out deformed, plastic. Tools, cups. They come out deformed because the water is excessively hot.
Okay, what else do you have?
Well, do you wanna admit this in?
That has to go over there.
No, he
He
said
showed it.
he's
He said
not.
no, but
He
those other
objects.
pictures, no.
So Attorney Eversole objected to, you
Yes.
object to all those pictures?
Well, let me just, I only saw the
The
top.
top.
Yeah, that's,
He objected to the temperature pictures.
I don't object to those.
You object to the top one.
I object to the top and not to the others. There's no plastic that's melted.
Okay, so take this one.
Two of them there, top two.
And you can admit these without objection. Whatever number you're at now,
That's gotta move that.
and just in parentheses, put how many pages it is.
Thank you, Ed. We'll order this
Four.
way. This way, we can just.
Yep.
Issues with the sanitary plumbing. Sanitary plumbing is leaking, causing mold.
All right, come on to the next one. He'll catch up in a minute. We'll look at the pictures in a moment.
During the rainy season. And when it rains hard, excessive water pours into the living quarters, the garage. There's an issue with the footing drains that aren't working properly, which is causing all this.
We don't, since we haven't been in this location, the house in a while, we don't really know what this is. Are you gonna explain what we're
Yeah.
looking at here?
You're looking at the sanitary drainage from the bathroom in the garage area right there.
And when do you say that this occurred?
It's been occurring right along.
Since inception of the first lease.
Okay, your lawyer will ask him questions and your lawyer can cross-examine him, but Mr. Yurchik, what you need to do is just say, what does that picture depict? What does that picture show?
Leaky sanitary drainage pipes causing
And
mold
where is that pipe?
in the garage.
And who took that picture?
I did
When did you take that picture?
in the fall.
In the fall of 2023?
Yes,
Does it look like that now?
it looks worse than that now
Okay.
because it's continuing to leak.
And when did you bring this to the attention of Mrs. Miller Regnum?
Okay, don't cross-examine him
Sorry.
yet. For now, it's just, do you object to
Yeah.
the picture or not?
I object because I can't tell when this started and what it is
Well,
now.
Okay. I would advise the chair that I think that would go to cross-examination. And he's authenticated the photograph that he took the picture. It's a picture of the pipe in the basement. And that, that's what it looks like. You certainly can cross-examine him.
Okay.
Ceiling? That's the ceiling?
Was this the
Yes.
ceiling?
That's the ceiling in the garage.
Well, we'll let you rule on that.
So right now, we're just talking about the top picture.
Just that, all right. Just the top picture, attorney?
Well, it's up to him. It's what
Yeah.
he's offering.
I'm offering them all because it's
Okay.
throughout the house.
Well, I'm not gonna object, but I'm gonna have many questions about this.
All right, all right, Raymore, we'll take. them. So this is.
No, I think it's fine.
This is in the utility.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry,
got the
I'm
patch.
sorry.
You just need to let our secretary make sure her notes are caught up.
Like this, and a suspended ceiling with its panels.
Yes.
Okay, so this is not necessarily mold that we're seeing.
No,
you mean the
stains,
picture?
water stains
Okay, but I
from
just-
leaking
I
pipes, not,
understand.
not right there, there's not mold. Just in the first one, there's mold.
It's exactly like these ceiling panels here.
Like here, above us.
Yeah, okay. Mhm.
Okay. So, all right, let's continue.
This is the utility room. The dryer in the well tank is installed in here. It's kind of enclosed with some billfold doors. These pictures indicate serious water coming in. Wood is rotting because the water is coming in so bad. Here's the washing machine, water comes in, covers the.
That's not the washing machine, that's the dryer.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely right, my mistake, dryer.
Well, we'll let it come in again, and we're gonna have questions.
Yeah.
How late does this meeting go on?
Till we're done.
So we're done.
I mean, it could be continued.
I have another meeting at my church, but go ahead.
What time's that?
7 o'clock in Cornwall.
Oh,
Go ahead.
All right, so you had no objection to these pictures?
To their admission, no.
Okay, so we'll take them in then.
Exhibit 6.
Thank you. Judging by your stack of pictures there, is there any chance we could limit to things that are a little bit more truly health hazardous or truly structural issues and limit more of this? Because so far, we're already up to probably 30 or 40 pictures.
I'm here to present evidence of, I understand what you're saying, but if I can't put it across.
Just trying to get this to move along because it looked like you got another 30 or 40 pictures there.
I got what I got, I mean,
Show us, all right, how about if can you bring it down to true issues? I mean, the water in your living quarters is a true issue. Mold in your living quarters is a true issue, but water in the driveway may not be a true.
I don't have no issues with water in the
I
driveway.
use that as an example. So is there any chance we could shorten that up?
I'll try to do my best, but really to present my
Okay.
case, I need to show you
Okay,
what's going on.
okay, let's move it along.
This is a picture of the fireplace where water comes in through the bricks. Causing, I don't know what that is, some kind of mold or something.
No, it's not mold, it's effervescent.
Okay,
You're
you
well
can
aware.
stop.
So is this pictures of water or what is this? What are we looking at here?
That's my $695 leather jacket that was ruined because water comes in through the,
I'd
Fire-
love to have a
fire
drink, but that
break.
expensive.
Okay,
I don't
sir,
know.
sir, you can, don't comment, okay?
So-
You've got an attorney and he'll ask questions and cross-examine you, and you'll get a chance to testify,
I know, but
okay?
our attorney respectfully isn't familiar with the property.
Okay,
so-
you'll get a chance to testify.
So we have no objection to admitting it, but we have a lot of cross.
Okay. Since you're gonna have a cross, we need the pictures.
Number 7.
Thank you.
Now, do the thing.
So, Mr. Yurchik, to move it along, what you should do, so to identify the pictures, to offer them as exhibits, you need to state, what does the picture show? Who took the picture and when was it taken?
All these pictures were taken by me, so I
So
don't
you're
think
gonna do it each time you offer pictures, you're gonna offer that testimony.
Okay,
So you're gonna say, here's a picture that shows, what does it show?
here's a picture that I took, which shows a bear that my dog had chased out of the yard. Here's a picture I've taken of a skunk eating the grubs and moles in the front yard. Here's a picture of foxes that come in and eat the rodents and everything that are gathered in the yard. That I took. Here's a picture of a dead mouse when I opened the drop ceiling to shut the water off for the outside for the winter. Mouse falls on me along with a ton of feces. Here's an ant ants normally take over the house. That's another bug that was in the house. There's stink bugs. They're all over the house.
I'm gonna object on the grounds they're not relevant to really why we're here. A bear in the backyard, a fox in the backyard, I don't see how that's relevant.
I'll agree with you. We're not accepting those. It's natural wildlife outside.
Well,
That's nothing we can control.
the next set of pictures I'm gonna show you relates to why that's in the backyard.
Well, you could do that, but as of right now, I'm not accepting those pictures of wildlife out
Okay.
in your yard.
Okay. Understood? This is the fence surrounding the property, pictures that I took. It's rotted, it's falling apart. It's holes and everything. This is the picture I took of the gate. The gate has dropped 5 inches into the dirt. You can't even open this because it's broken and in the dirt. This other picture, this other door, you can't open it because the bushes are overgrown behind it. Picture I took, this is why the bear comes in the yard. He opened that hole and he comes in and out of there. I don't know if he sleeps in the bushes at night or what, but. There's more things where the foxes come through. Possums come through, coyote.
All right. You accept or deny those pictures?
Let me just show you. Okay, we're gonna object to these coming on the grounds of relevance.
What do you mean relevancy?
We rented you a house in the country and there are things there that are in the country, you know?
Try to
Your neighbors
focus
have
on
these same
which
issues.
one of these elements do these photographs
Yeah.
go to?
The lease says you're gonna repair things in your house.
Well, I'm gonna cross-examine you on that very
Yeah.
issue, but right now we're just talking about whether those are gonna be admitted, and I'm objecting to those.
Notably noted this, I'm gonna ask you for some guidance
Mhm.
on those pictures.
Okay, so the issue, Mr. Yurchik, and what the chair is asking me, so. And I think, didn't I email you some of the procedural stuff about the things, the factors that the Fair Rent Commission considers?
Long time ago, yeah.
Well, and there's 13 factors that the Fair Rent Commission considers. And there's also, you know, the statute does also provide that they could consider other circumstances, but everything really kind of ties around these 13 circumstances. So what Attorney Ebersol is saying is that the pictures you're showing now don't have anything to do with any of these 13 circumstances. Is that a fair
Yeah.
statement of your objection?
Thank you.
So that's the thing, you need to focus on these 13 these 13 things that the commission is supposed to consider and introduce evidence and testimony that are related to those things.
So basically, we gave you 13 questions to answer that says, here's my case. That'd be fair?
Well, I
Basically,
wouldn't call them
13
questions, but
It's, I'm just trying to use it because I use.
But I see that.
sure. I mean, I think I'm pretty sure I.
Well, we're not
emailed
gonna
you.
accept.
So they
pictures
start
of the creatures.
here. The circumstances, these are the circumstances that are considered, A, B, C, da, 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 over to here.
Use those nice words.
Excuse me, are you recording this?
No.
Okay,
Uh,
because I can't allow that.
I'm not-
It is being
Okay.
recorded, though. It's a public record.
I'm aware, thank you.
I'm gonna ask to step back 1 minute. You accepted the lease. The lease clearly says that the property owner, landlord, will repair things of the house. Here's the fence. Fence was never touched.
Okay, but
I had talked to Mary Melaragno about it. She says, oh, we'll get to it sometime.
well, I understand that, but I'm not going to be accepting the pictures of the wildlife and the broken fence.
Okay. Relevant to the case, but I guess not in your eyes. The condition of the yard. With all the growings. Place looks like the Amazon rainforest. You can't even walk on the sidewalk.
I'm gonna make the same objection. Those pictures aren't really relevant to the 13 enumerated factors to be considered.
It's in regards to the lease where the lease clearly says the landlord will provide a once annual trimming of shrubbery on the premises. I've been there 4 years. No one once trimmed the
So,
shrubbery.
Mr. Yurchik, we're not here, addressing your lease. The lease, as Attorney Ebersol explained, expired. It's been admitted only because it's relevant in part to the stipulation that was entered into. But also, the Fair Rent Commission is not here to determine whether your landlord has or has not violated your lease. The commission is charged with determining whether the proposed rent increase is unfair and excessive based on these 13 factors. That's what the issue is before the Fair Rent
Well, if he
Commission.
doesn't do the work in the lease, how could he be raising the rent? That's my question.
Okay. Just telling you that we're not here to determine whether or not the landlord has breached the lease, whether you've breached the lease. We're here considering these 13 factors.
This is the major reason why the water is coming into the living area, into the garage. The drains are all plugged up. Causing the mold, causing the, water stains, the stuff in these fireplace. This is the garage. The water comes in through there. On top of it, they pump the gutter drains down to the footing drains, which are not draining, making the problem extremely worse, and that's why the water's coming in.
Rather than continually going up and down, would it maybe be a little easier if you just stood close and watch to read, to look at these?
I'm sorry, are there more? I didn't realize there were pictures here.
Yeah, there are more pictures.
Okay. What is that? That's a clogged drain? Where is that?
Footing drain.
That's not a footing drain. We object to these pictures. That's
Okay,
totally. inaccurate.
Nope.
Yeah.
Well,
You
I'm
have to
speaking-
speak.
I'm speaking here, not to the picture.
Your attorney speaks
Okay.
for
We
you.
object to these photos because they're not relevant to the 13 factors.
I'll agree with the attorney. Some of them are on exterior again, exterior water issues. And we're gonna pass along on those.
But that's what's causing the mold. That's what's causing all the
Well,
water.
maybe the way to think about it is the reason for the mold isn't the issue. It's the mold, if it's there, is the issue.
I show pictures of mold.
I understand you claimed you showed pictures of mold. Attorney Eversole may have an argument about that, but my point is your testimony, from what I understand, is that there are significant water issues here that are causing mold and mildew and damage.
Yep,
So the reason for it, I don't know if that makes a difference, make a difference to you.
No.
in regards to the rent increase. Here's the bathroom. It's a 1970, 50-year-old bathroom, never's been updated. Well, my question is, how could you go up on the rent when I'm living in a 50-year-old bathroom?
Let me ask you a question about those pictures now.
If they're not in evidence, no.
I just want to make sure this is in the house. I haven't been there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for your guidance on a continuing basis.
Okay,
Okay, we don't object to these.
okay.
Yeah, all right, well,
I can tell.
if he doesn't object to them, we'll take them. But I don't. We'll just. Number 8. No. For sure, lost it. Anything else?
I have no more pictures, but I'd just like to say a few words.
That's your opportunity at this moment.
About a year and a half when I moved in. Unfortunately, the landlord had some issues with her 50-year-old house. First off, I found termites in the house, which I notified them. They paid to exterminate them. The well tank went. They had to replace it. The furnace had issues on the coldest day of the year. They had to fix it. And the garage door spring broke, almost taking my eye out because it didn't have the safety cable in it. They came and repaired the garage door springs and rollers and put the required by law today safety chain in it. I don't know what they had to spend to do that. I'm sure it was a lot of money. But at that point, that's when everything stopped. The exterminator used to come every 6 months. He doesn't come no more. I called, I complained, I emailed, nothing gets done. Everything was fine when $1,400 every month was coming in with no issues, but all of a sudden the 50-year-old house broke. And now I get no more service. That's all I gotta say about the whole issue.
Hey, Mr. Attorney, your rebuttal, please.
Okay,
No,
well,
his cross-examination.
questions on those photos. Where are those?
Right here.
Are they in some type of order?
Yeah, there is.
They're
sequential
from
order that they-
One of the very first ones that were presented. They're in
That's
the
the
numerical
board,
sequence.
This is the lease, and here's all the pictures.
Pictures are also numbered.
By groups or by individual?
By group,
By group.
group that was presented and accepted as evidence.
Because they're in the same area, like on the bathroom pictures, on the garage pictures.
So, tenant, what does it say, tenant exhibit 1, what is this?
I didn't write that.
Tenant,
The first exhibit, okay.
yeah.
So
Tenant
you-
number one.
You say that this is a letter that you received from Jason Millerard.
Correct.
When you got this, did you call him up to attempt to renegotiate the rental amount?
No, I did not.
Mhm.
Because he doesn't want to negotiate with me.
Why do you say that? You just told us about many repairs that he made.
He made them when $1,400 was coming in every month. Soon as he paid that money out, nothing was ever addressed. Per my phone calls, per my emails, per my text messages.
Is it true that between March of 22 and December of 23, you got $16,000 behind in the rent?
That's irrelevant.
No,
in
it's
a
not.
fair-
You said
in
that
a
you
fair
said you
rent-
were paying the rent when it was 1,400, but you got $17,000 behind.
That's right, I was. I became injured, I'm disabled now, I'm on a fixed income. He and Mrs. Malaragno talked about it, and she said it wasn't your fault that you got hurt. I was giving her $800 to $1,100 every month. I have records of it, don't tell me no.
Don't do that, sir.
I don't, whatever, I have the
So,
records.
How much rent did you pay for May of this year?
I didn't pay nothing because.
Why?
Because the landlord has my, security deposit, which I have proof here, that he's trying to swindle out of me. Written proof that he faxed to me, emailed to me.
Well, what do you mean he's trying to swindle something from you?
Well, I gave you $1,400 in security deposit, and it's right in the lease, that $1,400, and he's telling me when I move out, he'll give me my $1,000 security deposit back, and if you like to see the text message stating that, I could provide it.
No, I don't need to see that, but I want to know, how is it relevant that you have stopped paying your rent because he raised an issue about your security deposit?
And another issue, as the.
Well, you have to answer
Yeah,
that question.
Oh, I'm sorry, what's the question now?
You just said you did not pay your rent purposefully, you did not pay it on May 1st of this year.
That's correct.
And the reason you gave, or April,
April's rent was paid.
okay, well, I'll get that in testimony. Did you pay the June rent?
No, I didn't.
Why aren't you paying the rent?
Because due to his actions, the court stipulation clearly says that on February 1st, I will become a tenant in good standing. I have the day in court, he told me he's not revising that on February 1st. I also have it in an email. Would you like to see it?
No. How are you a tenant in good standing if you don't pay the rent?
I paid the back rent, I paid all the rent.
But you're not paying for the last couple of months.
I paid for May with the security deposit.
The security deposit isn't really able to, you can't reach that until you leave the property. It's to cover problems with the, that you leave behind that you're responsible for. That's nothing to do with, are you leaving the property?
I can't leave the property because I have additional text messages showing me that I'm not a tenant in good standing and I can't rent nothing. Because he hasn't released per the stipulation, court stipulation of November, that February 1st, I will be returned as a tenant in good standing. How could I leave if I can't go nowhere?
Well, you were paying the rent any good standing in February and March.
That's right, April too.
Well, we'll,
I do stand corrected, Peter, I'm sorry, to correct the record.
You'll testify. Don't worry about it.
so are you gonna no longer pay your rent?
Well, we gotta come to a stipulation here. What's the rent gonna be? I'm not paying $2,700, and if he doesn't revise the tenant in good standing, I have nowhere to go. I was shot down twice because I was told, oh, there's an eviction on your record. And I have text messages proving that also. Along with a text message that he says he's not releasing the eviction until I'm out of the house.
We'll get into that later. All right, let me go back to the other photos here. These, this is your exhibit number 4. These items you say are relevant because your dishwasher was so hot that it,
Just like the water that comes out of the tap,
Right.
just like the water that comes out of the
So-
tap.
is it true that that problem was fixed by a plumber that they hired a few months ago?
No, it isn't. No, it wasn't.
Did they have somebody come to attempt to?
They
fix it?
were, no, they came to clean the furnace. They didn't attempt to fix anything with the hot water.
Okay, then you've got these pictures, I believe, in the basement where you say they report to show leaking water.
And mold
When were these taken?
in the fall of last year.
And there was no mold before that?
No, it was gradually growing and growing.
And how do you know that that's mold?
It's black. Mold is usually black mold.
And did you inform Mary Millaregno about this?
Yes,
When?
I informed Jason. I didn't inform Mary Magdalena because I was told she takes care of everything now.
When did you tell him?
A year ago,
What is this? You're right, this shows
this
some
is
stain.
stains coming in from the water coming in.
Where is this?
That's in the downstairs bathroom against the foundation wall.
Where is this?
That's in that utility room with the dryer and well tank.
And when was this taken?
Approximately the same time, in
When?
the fall of last year.
When you took these, did you send these to Mrs. Millaregno?
No, I did not,
Why not?
because they don't do nothing.
Well,
They
then-
ignore my calls, they ignore my texts, they ignore whatever. They don't wanna spend no money to fix their house.
When did this happen? This is on the
It's been
drive.
happening constantly for years.
Did you tell them that?
She was there once and saw it. I cleaned it up. I clean it up, next day, it's there again. I'm all done cleaning it up.
And where was your leather jacket when it got,
You could see it right there.
no, where was it when that happened? Where in the house was this leather jacket?
It was hanging right there.
So you saw it being stained like that and you just left it there?
No, I did not. As soon as I saw it being stained, I moved it.
Where is this?
That's the basement at the
Basement.
fireplace.
Okay. Is that all you have?
Uh, just that the house is a 50-year-old house. It has no insulation. The windows are poor. In the wintertime, when the wind's blowing, the blinds are moving around. When it's 10 to 20 degrees, the furnace runs constantly. It barely could keep 66 degrees in the house, using oil like it's going out of style. The house is not worth $2,700 a month.
What is it worth?
You want me to honestly answer that?
Yes.
It's worth the 1,400, if not less.
Are you aware that real estate values, both for rent and for purchases, have gone up significantly since 2020?
Sure, things have gone up, but for a dilapidated house that's has mold, has water coming in, has rodent problems, animal problems. When the place was rented to me, it was rented as a dog-friendly spot because of the fence. My dog goes out in the back, he takes his life in his hands. By a coyote or a fox or even the bear could grab him and kill him instantly.
I have no further questions.
So does the commissioners, any of you commissioners have questions for him? You can ask him questions.
Mr. Yurchik. There have been a lot of problems, it appears, for not just the last 6 months. You're saying for the past 4 years,
No, the past 2 years anyways.
okay? If it's that bad, why didn't you move out?
Because I can't move out. They have me as a tenant in bad standings.
And is that their fault or your fault?
It's their fault.
Because you didn't pay the rent?
And that's incorrect.
Well, how did you end up $17,000 in arrears then?
Because I owed them some rent, which she said, don't worry about it. You got hurt. It wasn't your fault. I'll work with you. I told her when I get my settlement, I'd gladly square up with her. One day in the door, there's a eviction notice. At that point, I stopped paying the rent per an attorney telling me not to pay the rent. But that's all irrelevant with this fair rent housing thing. She got her money plus during the court stipulation. They got December, November, December, January, February, March, and April rent. And the stipulation clearly says that February 1st, I will be returned to a tenant in good standing with no record.
So knowing that, why did you choose not to pay the rent that they had coming to them for the month of May and June then?
I told you.
Okay, but you wanted to be a tenant in good standing. How is a tenant that doesn't pay their rent considered in good standing?
Yeah, but the tenant in good standing was February 1st, not now, not May, not June.
That didn't answer my question though. You're complaining that you're not in good standing and it's their fault when you're the one that chose not to pay. So I'm just wondering if you wanted to keep that in good standing, why you chose not to pay? At least to pay the 14, not to pay the 27, but the 14 that you had been paying.
Did you pay May's rent?
No,
So you didn't pay June's rent yet either?
no.
Okay.
Like I said, I show you the email where he was claiming
Okay,
He only got $1,000 from me.
but did you make any payment in May?
No, I did not.
Okay, that ended that. When you signed the original lease, you knew of all those things that weren't usable. When you said you can't use the attic, the garage and all those things, you knew that, correct?
I understand that, but he's basing his
Did you know that when you
$2,700 on that. I understand that.
Okay, so there's no change in use. You couldn't use it before and you can't use it now.
I understand that.
Okay,
That's not his point is that
Yeah.
they're raising the rent and he should be able to have
Yeah,
access.
but
to all
that- yeah, but
Access or the stipulation of $2,700 is including all that. Which can't be included per the lease.
any other questions?
I have one. As of February, you were in good standings with them, correct?
February, March, April.
I'm asking about February.
Yes, I was.
And it says as of February, they were supposed to put you back into.
Correct. And I'll show it.
You don't need to show me. Did that happen?
No, they did not. And I have documentations where he says it's not gonna happen until I move out.
All I need to know. Thank you.
Yeah, on that point, I have a question. So in the stipulation, it says, and I quote, upon fulfillment of the above conditions, the defendant shall be reinstated as tenant in good standing effective February 1st. That happened because of this stipulation. They did not have to go to the court and say, Your Honor, he's in good standing. That is what's written here. There was nothing for us to do to put you in good standing.
Is that a question?
Yes. Why do you think that they did not do something to make you in good standing in the eyes of the court?
Is there a way I could show a text message? I meant to print it out, but I didn't do it.
Why don't you give it to the chairman and have the chairman.
Well, first the
read it?
attorney.
Because you
Yeah.
put it on the
Yeah, I
screen.
mean, that's
No.
what-
So I guess, just to move it along, I have a question. When you read in the stipulation that you would be returned to a tenant in good standing, what did you think was supposed to happen?
I was gonna be returned to a tenant in good standing and have no
Attorney
record.
Eversole is saying that the stipulation says that. So
But
what
it
else?
didn't happen.
Well, what do you mean? When you say it didn't happen, what did you expect should have happened?
How did you know that it didn't happen?
I'm working with a realtor. All of a sudden I get a cold shoulder. He sends me a text, which I'm looking for.
This is back in February?
Yeah,
No.
who do I show that?
Gotta go over there first. It's gotta go to him first.
He just said no objection.
No objection.
Who was
Have to read it to us, so we don't-
person who sent you that?
Gotta move this along.
Mike Greger, a realtor for Cohen,
Read it out loud so we can hear it. so we know.
which I had a place which I was willing to move out because I'm totally upset with the standings here.
You wanna move it out loud?
Please.
Please.
I'm like, there's no ongoing eviction in process on my record. That's an old case and I have fulfilled the terms of the court stipulations and have been reinstated as a tenant in good standing as of February 1st, 2024. I've searched Connecticut Superior Court case, look up by name, address and case number, and nothing comes up as per the case you sent me. As I stated, that was an old case and has been rectified. And as of date, I am a tenant in good standing. I believe you shouldn't have been able to find that info and are looking into it further. Maybe you can tell me where you found this because I can't seem to see the info you sent me. Hi, Tom, it's on the court case lookup website. I sent you the link.
So some of your discrepancy comes to the realtor then.
Well, here's the point.
Okay.
Here's the point. When you say I was supposed to be reinstated as a tenant in good standing, what did you think was supposed to happen?
That's supposed to disappear. That's
What's
what
supposed to disappear?
the eviction court case. That's what I was told in court.
Yeah, well, they can't make the court case disappear. The fact that you were a defendant in an eviction case, they have no control over that. That's on the court website. That's the court docket. So the fact that you were subject of an eviction, that doesn't go away. That's there forever. So that's why I'm wondering, what did you expect was gonna happen? Is that what you expected, that if somebody did a
It was
search,
told by the court clerk.
the court clerk told you what?
We never went in front of the judge. We did a deal with the
Okay.
court
All
clerk.
right, I don't have any questions.
Oh, good. All right. Right, at this point, we're gonna close up the questions going back and forth to each other. We can discuss now with ourselves
No,
here.
no, no,
No,
no.
I
What?
want to present our.
He wants
side
to
of the
put in
story.
evidence.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So just, you're done questioning the,
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Yurchik, okay,
Okay.
and you guys are done questioning Mr. Yurchik.
Yes.
So now Attorney Eversole can introduce testimony and evidence.
So, Mrs. Pellegrini, you own the property,
Yes, I
Right.
do.
and you rented the property, was it first in 2020 to
Yes.
your check? And you heard him state that, there were many rather large items that you repaired or replaced that he brought to your attention.
I'm sorry, say that again, Peter.
He said that you replaced a furnace and other things once he brought to your attention that they needed replacing.
The garage doors, the water tank, which, after I had a licensed plumber come and look at it, he said that I was wasting my money because he knew how to fix it. But I wanted it replaced, and many times he told me he had a friend that could fix this or that. But, under the advice of my sons, they want a licensed person to come and replace anything, and that is what I did. The fence has been, fixed, like when one of the slats came out, those were replaced. I was never notified about what condition. The front, which I can see, the front is totally fine. There's nothing wrong with the front of the house as far as the fence goes. In the lease, it says that he is supposed to maintain the lawn. And I do have pictures on my phone where it is not maintained. As far as the shrubs go, they were cut down once a year. Last year, in March of 23, I told him that I would not be renewing the lease because I was going to move back in there. And he had until May 31st to move out. So, as Mr. Yurchik stated, when he first was injured, I was very sympathetic to him because I'm a kind person. And, I assumed that his injury, once he had the surgery, usually within 6 to 8 weeks, you're back to work. And that's what I was assuming, that in 6 to 8 weeks, he would be back to work and he would catch up on his rent. Then, as I said, in March, that was not happening, and I could not afford to pay the taxes on 2 homes and have living costs without the extra money from my rent. So that's when I decided that I was going to move back into my home and sell the one that I'm currently living in, which belongs to me and my sister. I had also made an agreement with my sister that I was going to be moving back into my home and that we would sell, this is our parental home. I moved into that house to take care of my mom. So, she has allowed.
I'm confused. Well, which home is the parental home?
Where I'm
The one you're
living
living
now.
now?
Right, so I was going to move out of that one and move back into my own house.
And I thought I would have the income from the sale of that house to help me with my living expenses. So, when he did not move out, then I couldn't move back into my own home. In July, I was diagnosed with cancer. And so that took top precedent of everything else. And that's when Jason took over for me, because he said that I shouldn't have to deal with all those issues while I'm undergoing cancer treatment, which I still am. I had surgery on May 15th. That's only been 3 weeks. And, I still have more chemotherapy, more radiation to go through.
Peter ask.
Yeah, Mary, let me ask you 2 more questions.
Uh-huh.
So you heard Mr. Yurchik say that he many times advised you of problems with the house in the last year, and that you ignored his request to
No.
fix things. Is that
No.
true?
No, that is not true. As far as the shrubs go, in May, I sent him a text message that I wanted to go up there and do some of the yard work. And he wrote back to me saying that, it was my yard, but what was the big hurry? Because I was gonna have the rest of my life to do it. So I assumed at that time that on May 31st, he was gonna move out, and so I agreed to that too. I said, okay, after May 31st, I can go up, and my sons would come up and help me with the shrubs. But I do have a picture on my phone of what my house looks like. It is a 50-year-old home. The house that I live in is even older than that, but I maintain it to the best of my ability, and even that house, that is my house. Why would I let something go when I'm gonna move back in there? I would not let anything go like that.
Let me ask you a specific question. He showed pictures of some black stains on the ceiling, which he claims were mold. Were you aware that?
No, never,
He never brought that to your attention.
no, I have not been in the house since 2022. I have been in the basement part of it when the furnace was being cleaned, but I have not been in the rest of the house, so I don't know. I don't know.
Did he ever tell you that there were water leaks that he felt?
No, no,
No.
no. And as far as the bugs, could that be to the fact that, he doesn't maintain the cleanliness of the house? I don't have issues with bugs in my house. I have a bear and a fox that move freely through my backyard where I live now. I don't have a fence. No one has ever complained about the heat in the house, even the hot water, I mean. Even tenants that had small children have never complained that the water was too hot.
Did you hire a heating plumbing contractor to fix the hot water issue?
Well, he came to, do regular maintenance on the furnace. That's why, like, I've been maintaining what needs to be maintained. And he just said that everything was in working order. He told me that he did lower the temperature.
So I'm gonna hand you a document. Could you identify what this is?
This is from Carlson, who installed the furnace and has been taking care of it every single year.
And with respect to the hot water, does this reflect in this bill? What is this bill dated?
What is it?
When was this bill
Oh,
sent?
April 30th,
And
2024.
does it indicate on that bill that they had adjusted the hot water and they told you that the problem was fixed?
it just says, at this point, everything is working properly. Tested unit for call via thermostat. Perform smoke test and combustion analysis.
Okay, you don't need to go any further.
Okay,
So I'd like to make this, defendant's exhibit number 1.
do
I
I get to?
object because it doesn't say nothing about domestic hot water.
Well, it does show a landlord is, having an annual service in which they conclude that everything is working properly.
I object. It isn't working properly.
The
And it
question is,
doesn't,
the
it
question is
doesn't
not whether it's
state,
working properly, the question.
We have to know whether we're gonna take this.
Yeah, do you object to that document? I'm not asking, does it work or not work? I'm asking, do you object to
it
this?
does not say, she said it said that they tested the hot water. They didn't test the
Well,
hot
she
water.
didn't say that.
I was with the technician
All right.
throughout the
Right
whole
now, we
thing.
got, okay, this question still comes out. Do you object to this? It's either yes or no.
I object, yes.
Okay. And he wants to hand it
So
in.
you can say, what's the basis of the objection?
What's the basis of your objection?
It does not say anything about domestic hot water.
Okay, but we're gonna take it in so that we can review it and take a look at it.
I have a question for you. So do you have a separate hot water heater or does the hot water come off the furnace?
Coming off the furnace.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, but that is the only copy that I have for my records. Is there a way that I could get a copy of that? I need to take a picture of it.
I can scan it onto my phone.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd now like to ask Jason to answer some questions, but I don't know whether you have some questions of Mrs. Meloragno or any of the members of the commission do.
Yes, I do. Mrs. Malaragna, you stated that the bushes and hedges have been trimmed 4 times since I moved there,
Every year, yeah,
every year.
yeah.
I want to submit this into evidence. This is the yard.
Tom, would you like me to submit evidence that you have not mowed the lawn as it was?
I mowed the lawn
Hey,
4 times.
Easy.
Don't engage like that.
What do these things show that you're?
What does it show? That nothing has been mowed, trimmed look, here's where the line is. Nothing has ever been trimmed in the, look, they're overhanging in the walkway.
They
Look,
have-
Okay, that's,
look it.
let's go, we're gonna refer back to the 13 items again of some.
I'm cross-examining her. She's made a claim.
That works there. That's gonna end up being our question is how does all of that work into what these things say?
These pictures clearly show that there's nobody there for 4 years. And that's why I'd like them submitted as evidence.
Well. You accept that,
I'm gonna object. I mean, that doesn't really show that they're not attended to at all. She has just testified that has it done every year.
okay, I'm gonna,
Well, but it doesn't even address. any
No.
of the 13
so we're,
minutes.
same thing, that's on some of the exterior, we're gonna pass on it. We're not accepting it.
Okay. Any more questions of Mrs. Miller right now?
No,
Now we can close
Well,
up that portion.
Well,
Can I-
if the commission has any questions.
Oh, yeah.
Any more questions from the commissioners?
Okay.
Okay, I'd now like
So
to
now
have your
Jason.
son,
Mm-hmm.
Jason.
Can I,
No, you're done.
Your, your portion is done, it's
okay.
your son's turn to come up and.
So Jason, you have been assisting your mother in the oversight of this rental property that is a family homestead. Did you grow up in this house?
Yes, I have been assisting her. Yes, I did grow up in the house.
Okay. You heard, Mr. Yurcheck testify that he's made many complaints in the last year that you have not responded to. Could you, say whether that's true or not?
I heard him say that. That's totally true.
And so how did you respond to? When you did call, how did you respond?
Mr. Yurchik and I do not have a phone call relationship. since shortly prior to the initial eviction, not the current one that's in process, but the initial eviction. During that process, things got contentious and phone calls ceased, and we communicate exclusively via text message. So I do not have any text messages that state any complaints whatsoever about the property. I do have recent text messages that are rather terse, but nothing in regard to the condition of the property. The first time that I heard of those issues, with the exception of the hot water, the first time I heard about every other issue was when this complaint came in.
And you also received a copy of the complaint that he made to the city building department,
I did.
and those items there, he had never contacted you about?
He did not.
And the same thing with the health department, the Tortilla Health District?
That's correct. The only complaint I've ever heard from him had to do with the quote unquote excessive hot water in his determination.
And you tried to get that fixed, and a couple times he would not allow you to have the plumber come in to look at it?
That's correct. He's made it difficult to gain access to the property. And without getting into the weeds, so to speak, of the details, it's not as easy as Mr. Yurchik presents it to adjust the temperature of a domestic hot water heater that's coming off of the boiler. Attorney Magistrelli, I suspect that your question having to do with the water heater was certainly germane to the conversation. It's not a separate hot water heater. I have homes that have a separate hot water heater. It's relatively easy. But this type of system, it's not, because the same boiler is providing heat to heat the home as it is to deliver hot water to the fixtures.
Want to say something?
No,
Is there anything else that you want to say about whether or not you were responding to complaints that he made to you and your mother about the conditions at the house?
I would simply say that Mr. Yurchik's own statements substantiate that we've always responded to issues when they've been brought forth. It's in our best interest. My mom's the property owner. I have no stake in the property. I make no income from the property. So when I say we as family. But it is certainly in our best interest to maintain this property. There's no intention to sell this property in the immediate future. The intention is that my mom will move back to that property. And anytime that it's being rented, we of course want to uphold the standard of the home. I take significant issue with, if these claims are correct, that we actually were not made aware of them, because now we're in a situation where this is going to cost significantly more than if we had the opportunity to respond to them. And the lease, without being specific, makes a suggestion that we should be made aware based upon how much the tenant is responsible for fixing. These issues would clearly be above that, and we should have been made aware if they are in fact true. With regard to why I haven't been in the home, I have a couple of text messages, at least one of which I would feel uncomfortable reading aloud. And certainly one that shows clear contention and in the words of a police officer, borders on a threat. So I don't feel comfortable, nor do I feel it would be productive to enter the home at this point with Mr. Yurchik in the home. He has not asked me to enter the home to examine these issues, because again, the first time I heard about it was when I got the complaint from your office, Attorney Magistrelli.
So when you were deciding how much to increase the rent, did you make any investigation of what rents are in the Torrington area for a house of this size?
I did, Attorney Eversole. In fact, I also contacted a real estate agent that we have a long-standing relationship with, who in fact is the real estate agent that we used when Mr. Yurchik became a tenant.
And what did the real estate agent advise you as far as the current value of a house like that?
That it's increased significantly on based upon two factors. One, very low inventory, and one, the nature of the market is that demand has increased such that rents have gone up substantially. If there was one thing, in fact, that she pointed out that we were wrong on, is that we should have been increasing the rent all along. My mom has not increased the rent despite my suggestions to do so. It's remained $1,400 the entire time Mr. Yurchik has been in tenancy. Beyond that, our real estate agent did an assessment and felt that somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 would be reasonable. She did say without entering the home, that would be something she'd want to do to be able to narrow that down. But we have documentation. There are 3 single-family homes on the market presently in Torrington right now. And if you look historically what has been rented, this is absolutely not out of line whatsoever. While it represents a significant jump, that's more indicative of the fact that we have not increased the rent over the duration of the tenant's total tenancy.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
No.
Okay. I have,
Wait a minute. Do you have any questions for him?
You said, yeah, your realtor priced houses out in the neighborhood. You have records of that?
As I stated, yes,
Did you bring them here today to prove your point?
yes.
I think you should submit them.
Should we, is that?
let me see what I can do here.
Mr. Milleragno, when you say on the market, you mean on the rental market
I do,
as opposed to the sale?
correct.
And are they in proximity to your home now, your mother's home?
With all due respect, they're the
Do
only,
your chicks renting?
with all due respect, they're the only 3 on the market. in all
Are
of
they in
Torrington.
your neighborhood of this home?
They're the only 3 on the whole market in Torrington.
Are any of them in your neighborhood?
I know, I'd have to look at the addresses. University Drive is not.
Burden Street.
What is it?
Burden.
Nope.
Where's that?
Vernon Street.
Off of Highland Avenue.
Okay, Burden, yeah.
Does anyone know what Griswold is?
I think that's all.
Griswold's up near 24th School.
Okay, so this home is located on the east end of Torrington. And having grown up in Torrington myself, I know that the east end of Torrington continues to be a desirable location.
I grew up on Barton Street.
Oh,
And on Darling.
all the same neighborhood. So the east end of Torrington, thank you for your question, is a desirable area of town. I don't want to surmise one way or another, but I would suggest that, it would be, if anything, beneficial to the rental rate, the location of the property. It's on a low traffic street.
So you want to introduce?
I obtained today, hear what your counsel has to say about my submittals. I obtained today an analysis by a realtor, Christine Hunter, showing the rents that she could find online in Torrington, and I have copies for you of all these. And I have put in green highlight 2 properties which we think are very similar to these, and they show what the rents are. And it's very, one of them is 2,400, one is 2,700.
Are they in proximity to that home?
Burden Street.
No,
Let's just
Paul
probably
Tree
the same
Lane.
one.
It's kind of ironic. We have a very, very tight market, which is part of the reason that rents are so high. And yet we don't have any information in the neighborhood because it just doesn't exist. But I believe he did in good faith go out to try to find out what this property should rent for, and that was the advice that he got from Ms. Breedice.
And if I could further that, the market is such now, and I don't mean to insult anyone, I don't know your background, but the market is such right now that the location has become less important. That's not just in Torrington, that's statewide, and frankly, it's nationwide other than certain pockets. Because the inventory is so low, people are willing to pay just simply to get into a home, which is why you're seeing properties that may be in less desirable places and less desirable condition, rent for what something looks like egregious rents. So the location isn't what it used to be, although I respect the question.
Could it be the reason there isn't anything in the neighborhood is because all of the people in the neighborhood own their homes and are living in their homes and not renting them, and so there's nothing to compare it to?
This is not a rental neighborhood, you're correct.
Did your realtor, do any checks on what recently sold in the neighborhood?
Sold or closed for rental? Just
Sold.
No, that was not a question I asked.
What about closed for rentals?
So are you going to offer that, Attorney Eversole?
Can I?
You can offer whatever you want. You can offer.
Yes, in terms of closed, for rentals, yes.
In the neighborhood of this home?
I mean, you can decide which
Again,
one do you want to
you're-
offer. Do you want to offer that or do you
If
want?
I'm in the neighborhood of the home, I don't need to hear.
I mean, I would go back to my prior comment that, in the neighborhood, first of all, I'm not all that familiar with some of these neighborhoods that are stated here, some of the addresses. But secondarily, it's become less relevant than it used to be just a short time ago because people are looking for homes. So here's one on Allison Drive, that's at least on the east end, 2,500.
Where?
Yes. Spruce Drive, I don't know where that is, 2,800.
And the high school.
That's up to.
Litchfield Street, 2,500.
That's over by me.
The Berlin Street home again is there. Sunrise Drive, which is, I believe that one is relatively.
Sunrise?
Yes,
I think that's
Up
up
on
by,
Harrington Road.
yeah,
Harrington Road.
by Runders.
yes,
That's
2,100.
Still quite a ways up to that bell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
So I think that this gives somewhat of a picture of,
Yeah.
Well, I think you should introduce
Right.
either that or that, which, take your pick, which you
I'll
should.
take yours, Peter, it's more concise. The last, if I could make one comment, and this is where I'll.
Well,
end with
let's
regard-
address the admission of the exhibit first. So do you object to that?
No,
Okay, then mark it as an exhibit.
It's worth noting, Mr. Yurchik made the comments about that the attic is not accessible, the shed is not accessible. That's not the way that rent works. The way that rent works is based upon bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and amenities. So none of the areas that Mr. Yurchik mentioned are relevant to square footage. When we're looking at square footage and other comparators, those are the things that come into play when we're generating, competitive counts. So while I understand that, and I think your questions were excellent with regard to you didn't have access at the beginning, it's also worth noting those are not part of the assessment of a property for rental purposes. Anyway, not just in Torrington or in this situation.
I asked the question.
Well, you had your chance and you said you didn't have any more, but
Well,
Go
no,
ahead.
they just submitted some new information. That's what it's regarding.
I have no objection.
go ahead.
You have proposed,
Well, who are you asking the question to? Because Mr. Milleragno is testifying, so your question has to be
you
directed to
have
him.
proposed houses similar to yours, which are not in the neighborhood, but are they rented?
The homes on that document,
Yeah,
are those homes rented?
yes. At
Peter,
the,
my
at the
understanding-
prices you're stating.
On this document, and I have another copy that I'll give to you. There are three sections. One section is active properties. Those are properties that are on the market. Then there are closed properties. Those are properties that are currently rented. And then there are expired properties. Those are properties where that was what was being paid before that lease came to an end. So I have highlighted in yellow two properties in two different categories there, but they are actual rents. And as you can see, the two that I've highlighted are 2,400 and 2,700. And they have 6 rooms and 3 bedrooms and 2 baths.
The two that you have highlighted is active and expired. Closed properties, which should be rented, you have nothing.
Those, there are no comps there because those have 4 bedrooms and 2.5 to 4 baths. So I didn't think it was fair to call those comps because they're different properties, bigger properties.
But the fact remains the same, they are not rented at these prices.
I think Attorney Eversaw's explanation is they are
They are.
rented.
It's not apples to apples. It's not a 3-bedroom house with a 2-bath and a 3-bedroom house with a 2-bath, so that's why it wasn't considered in the comparison, is that correct?
Correct.
So you said he highlighted 2 of them, there are 2 highlighted. But one is active and one is expired. Active, they're looking for a renter.
Want me to give them your name?
So long as Mr. Milleragno clears the deal with the court.
But there's nothing we can do with that,
Yes.
you are in good standing of a February 1st, but the court records still exist. Did you call Mr. Regno to ask him to, talk to?
He's done testifying. You can't cross-examine him anymore.
Can I ask a question on this document?
On the document, sure.
Yeah. How many square footage is that house? Is this house?
No, I have that.
You know, I have a feeling part, I apologize.
And how many room and how many bedrooms?
So the first floor is 1,184 square
I
feet.
just need to know the square footage of the house.
The total square footage?
Yeah.
1,808 square feet. Or, I'm sorry, wait, Peter, let me clarify.
This.
It is, okay, yes,
Say again, please, how much?
1,808 square feet.
Thank you.
So it's 1,800 square feet.
Yes,
And how many bedroom?
3,
And how many bath?
2,
1.5.
no, 2,
Well,
yes.
Showers considered
Yeah.
full.
Connecticut standard is that if a
My
bathroom-
mistake, I'm sorry, I apologize.
so I'd like to just make a concluding, comment. We believe that the rent we asked for, $2,700 in this market is fair. We believe that they've been responsible landlords, and we believe that they're entitled to get, a fair rent. And they, you heard her say she needs the income, and she's entitled, this is her house, to get what she thinks is right. And if the tenant doesn't want to pay that, they have the right to leave.
We close up this portion, correct?
Well, so you're done presenting your evidence,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
And
everybody,
so, and do you want to make a closing argument, a closing statement?
Just that there's numerous issues with the house. I would assume it needs $30,000 to $40,000 to be brought back to shape. And how the landlord's agent is surmising it at $2,700, I can't believe it. That's all I.
Well,
have
he
to
also
say.
said that the agent hadn't been in the house yet, so that may go a little bit up or down. So you have to take that into consideration as well.
we can end all the questioning now.
No, we're done taking testimony.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I have some questions for, really for both parties. So again, under the statute, the Fair Rent Commission is charged with considering 13 factors. So you really need to focus on those factors. But the one question that I have for Attorney Aversol is in the stipulated agreement that's dated December 5th, 2023. The second paragraph says, both parties agree reasonable use and occupancy shall be $1,400 due on or before the 10th day of each month, commencing January 1, 2024, and continuing each month after. There's no end date there.
Yeah,
So how do
actually,
you,
This isn't for the, the next 25 years.
well, but what, that's going to ask you is, how would you interpret that? Why wouldn't the commission interpret that to mean that it's at least 12 months or 6 months? Or you're saying what, that expired like when?
Well, I'm saying that after 5 months, my client has looked at the market and believed that the property is worth more money. I don't think that binds us to being $1,400 for a lengthy period.
Okay, and I guess what I'd say to Mr. Yurchik, further down that talks about, it says if either party violates any condition other than a payment condition, meaning you paying the rent, the adversely affected party may file an affidavit with the clerk's office requesting a court hearing. So why didn't you request a court hearing on that issue that I just raised, request a hearing in court and say, hey, they're trying to raise the rent, and this says it should only be $1,400 a month?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Cause I talked to a few attorneys and they directed me to the Torrington Fair Rent Commission.
Okay.
No, we're all set with all of that?
Yeah, if you guys
Okay.
are.
May I comment?
No,
You don't, because you have him.
You're done.
Correct?
Yeah.
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 So, all right, we're all done with the questioning and the going back and forth with each other. Now the commissioners will talk to each other,
Deliberate.
debate and all, and see what we can come up with a conclusion. And we're gonna be running down the 13 items here and see how we compare with them and see what we end up with.
And we can sit through this?
yeah, under the Freedom of Information Act, there's no exception for the deliberation of the Fair Rent Commission, so it has to be public. But,
Well,
but nobody, but you guys can't comment. You know, as you
well,
listen to
I have
them,
to leave to go to another meeting, so I apologize that I'm walking out. I'm sure they'll want to stay, but I have to go to another meeting.
okay, so I'll just let you know what'll happen. So they deliberate, they talk. It has to be done in public. If you don't want to stick around, you don't have to. They'll make their decision. And it may be that they don't make the decision immediately, but they could. And under our rules, they need to issue a written decision within 21 days. But the point is, they're gonna deliberate and chew on it, and, you know, they could decide it today. But
Thank you very
if you have
much.
to go, you're excused.
Okay, so we'll go right down the 13 items to see how we come up with a nice conclusion. So we're using them, the rent's charged in the same number of rooms of housing, accommodation, same area, same municipality. So right now it's under the amount compared to by the information he gives. Yes?
No,
No.
no, we're
No.
talking about what they want to raise the
Yeah.
rent to that's being contested, so.
So would it be comparable to other rents?
With the evidence that's been provided, I
Yes.
would say
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
However, with one exception, and that is that nobody's gone into the
Right,
house.
realtor hasn't seen it.
Seen it to determine if the amount that they want to raise the rent is what it would be.
Without them
Conditional
saying you're
thing.
gonna have to put 40 grand or 20 grand or 1,000
Okay.
into it.
So-
So it's kind of hard to say that.
Yeah, that's,
Sanitary conditions exist in the housing accommodations in question. We had some pictures. And how do we wish to rank those pictures and look at them?
Well, they're not the most recent ones. I would have probably taken those pictures more recent.
Some of
The ones
them-
of the
Yeah, they were a year
bathroom.
old.
The age of the bathroom is irrelevant to me.
Yeah, me
this
too.
whole thing.
It's functional.
I don't care about that.
Okay. Neither do I. It's functional.
well, that's not a sanitary condition anyway.
Yeah.
That's a
No.
cosmetic form.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sanitary would be the mold, the water
That's
coming
correct.
in and leaking.
That's
through.
what I'm focusing on with the
That's-
rent.
So. are we-
And like with the hot water, it is adjustable. I have one of those. The heat and hot water are different issues. The furnace does one thing, but it's two separate issues in there and it is adjustable. It's very easy to do, depending on, and I know Carlson, so. It is adjustable. I
No,
did see,
you
You
know,
got a
I
comment.
did see in the,
Which one did you? want?
the Carlson bill.
Oh, it's right.
That's like number 2.
If you look at the Carlson bill right here, it says, test unit for call via thermostat. You turn that thermostat down, it lowers the temperature of the water. So all he did was test for, so okay, if it's set for 180, it's gonna give you 180 no matter what. If it's set for 190, it's gonna give you 190. If you turn it down to 120, it's gonna go to 120. So this states nothing about them adjusting the temperature, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Can I make a copy of that while you're deliberating? Thank you.
All right, the number of bathrooms, showers, water closets, kitchen sinks, lavatories, compared basins available to occupants. The number of bathrooms or showers, flush water.
Another, we're
closets.
comparing
Oh, I'm sorry.
that to another house that has that.
Yeah, I'm reading it just verbatim. as-
Right, so if you go by that without looking at the house, if the house was in perfect condition or a better live other than the pictures taken into consideration, then it would be a viable equal
Mhm,
rent increase,
mhm,
in my opinion.
mhm.
Yes, that's what we're,
Now, again, we'll go back to a realtor hasn't been in the house to say,
That's why
Yes.
it's
Mhm,
correct.
mhm.
let's see. Where we don't see.
more.
Certain. Okay, what we got? Geez, here. For services, furniture, furnishings, and equipment supplied therein. Were not comparable to other housing accommodations with the same rent.
It's all comparable.
Mhm.
And Ms. Melarago has shown that she's had things fixed.
Size and number of bedrooms contained therein. Were not comparable to other
Three
houses.
bedroom is still countable.
Little.
The size, all right, 6, repairs necessary to make accommodations reasonably livable for the occupants accommodated therein. Were not done or were done.
With that statement, my question is, why wasn't anybody in the house sooner? To look at the place sooner but if, we were also told that the issues were not forthcoming to them.
Yeah.
So that's,
You can't make repairs if you don't know something needs to be repaired.
correct.
And the burden of responsibility is on the
The tenant,
tenant to let the landlord
landlord
know.
know
If the
that.
landlord chooses not to do anything, then the responsibility falls on the landlord.
It's true, yeah, there's no true validation of any information going back and forth, whether it
Well,
was
are
sent,
we-
not sent.
Unless we have text message verification, which,
which none of it was presented other than that one text message.
So,
0.7. Mhm.
the amount of taxes, overhead expenses, including debt. Services thereon does not justify the rent increase or justifies the rent increase.
You didn't hear any evidence about
Yeah,
that.
we,
No.
no, we
No,
can't answer
skip
that.
it.
Irrelevant.
Yeah,
The accommodations are not in compliance with the ordinance of the municipality and general statutes relating to health and safety. Are they or are they not?
You didn't hear any evidence of that either.
Okay. The income of the petitioner and the availability of accommodations does not allow them to, does not allow them to pay the increase in rent or to relocate, or it does.
We have that issue.
well, it was addressed, but we
Right.
don't have any proof
Right.
exhibited, as in pay
Okay.
stubs or.
Yeah.
So,
Utilities available or not available?
utilities
Yeah.
are available.
Yeah, same as it were. Damages done to the premises by the tenant, more than ordinary wear and tear.
Wasn't presented.
The amount and frequency of the increase, rental increase. None.
Well, yeah, now it is.
Yeah, now, but in the past,
No,
there
he
hasn't been any
Yeah,
in
Increased it
several
in 4
years.
Correct.
Since he's been there.
Yes.
Mhm.
So there hasn't been a steadily amount change. Whether the extent to which the income from the increase in rental charges has been,
Well, there hasn't
or,
been any rental
yeah,
charges.
reinvested, yeah,
Increased.
but will the rental increase be reinvested in improvements? Do we have any validation saying that, these things are planned that
We
may,
never discussed, so we,
yep. The only thing I'm gonna bring up is, again, it goes right back to this, the court document,
yes,
and that says,
Mike brought up a good point.
yeah, it's now, and that was only in
January.
January. The standard lease is 1 year. So we could,
That's not proclaimed in that document, so
I-
that's kind of.
I know that. And that's what I'm saying, but a standard lease is 1 year. So we could almost make an assumption that this may be good for 1 year, not eternity. But also meaning that it's good now. That $1,400 should be that amount now for 1 year,
That, as soon as Mike brought that
you
to
know?
the foreground, that's the thought that occurred in my mind.
Yeah, and that's what I have on my notes, and well, this one's mine. I don't know what the quote one is. But anyways, yeah, but like I said, okay, so the question I would for debate is how long the court says it's from now forward, but that would be almost realistic.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah, so, but a standard lease is 1 year. So would that be valid to say that this amount is good for 1 year, not 3 months?
I don't lease any of my homes, so I don't know.
Yeah, but that would be the question is, okay, the court says it's indefinite. Well, does that mean next month we raise the rent home? No, doubling it. I would assume that based on that, it would be a 1 year lease.
I agree with you, Kim.
Discussion on it, it's, you know, at least that would be a
If you go
valid.
by that document, I would, well, again, I don't lease, so I don't know what terms of leasing
Yeah.
are. But if you go by that document, and you're telling me, being a landlord, that it's typically a year,
Yeah, it's a typical.
I would have to go by your knowledge of what you do.
And that's like I said.
Well, I would also refer to other places. I can call my realtor who takes care of hundreds of rentals throughout the state of Connecticut. So I can call her and say, okay, what is a standard lease on this?
I mean, we can get all this full spectrum, week to weeks, month to month,
Sure.
the full spectrum, but.
But you're saying
generally
a standard
advertised-
is a year lease.
Yes, it's a year.
One thing you probably could consider, and I know Attorney Eversole was making the point that the lease that they did have, the last written lease they had expired because it was only good for 12 months, but it was for 12 months. So the
Okay,
last
so we
written
go by
lease,
that one.
the last written lease they had was for 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so how long was that lease? Rather than me digging it up again, how long was that one for?
12
12
months.
months.
12 months, yeah, but there it is right there, it's standard 1 year lease.
Terminated on the 31st of May
Yeah.
What year?
But it was,
of 2023. And then this
And
document.
that,
is
and that line was forward,
January 24.
got it.
Correct.
and that kind of validates my statement of a 1 year
lease.
lease.
That's 1,400.
Yeah, but 1,400.
But the tenant also is 2 months in the rear range.
No, 1 month.
May, June.
Well,
Well, June-
No,
June
June,
so-
they have up to.
So
10th of
1
June.
month.
1 month, June, they have to have, at the 11th day, there was.
Is it currently though, as they filed the notice to quit on him?
I don't know. Now that falls into a little bit, that wasn't, we had questions on that before.
Did you
but
hear
I-
any evidence about that?
No.
No.
So then you don't
So,
discuss
yeah,
that.
So there was no notice to quit, so as far as we're concerned, there's no court action.
Okay.
More discussion.
I personally have pondered this a little bit. I'm ready to make a decision. I could be the only one.
No,
No,
that's,
I-
no, this is what we heard. This is the open discussion portion.
With the notes that I have and what's been said here today.
Well, I will say this, when I'm looking at the things in the basement. I put things in the basement's damp. Without a dehumidifier. the
My house is
basement damp.
1890. You don't have to tell me.
Yeah, so,
The one in Torrington anyway.
the dishwasher issue, well, that was admitted at evidence, so I will discuss it and stick my neck on a limb a little bit, but are these items dishwasher safe?
Dishwashers have heating elements.
But are they dishwasher
With
safe?
the plastics, without knowing whether the dishwashers, I already took that out of my
Yeah.
opinion on that.
Okay,
Well, and they can also be melting from the drying cycle, not
Yes.
the hot water too.
Correct.
So we don't know if it was the hot water. I mean, it's been presented. that
By the
that's what they
pictures, it
thought.
can't tell you whether they're dishwasher safe, so that's why I instantly, once I looked at them, I'm like, okay.
I'm not in favor of one way or the other. I'm making sure we discuss all the information that was.
No, that just falls back
broadcast.
on the furnace again and the hot water and the domestic hot water, that it's
Yeah.
two separate issues from heat and hot water.
Yes. Um, These. Even some of the stained drop ceiling, well, we don't know if it's truly an active water issue or a stained ceiling.
Could be a rodent issue.
Yeah, could be a
So the
rodent.
size of one of the stains, I,
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
could be a rodent issue.
yes. Bathroom, functional,
It's a rodent.
it's, yeah, it's a roll, yeah, and then there's the lease, but the animal issue that they had outside, and just nature.
Well, that wasn't presented. in
My
that.
Farmington home is right down the road. I get a mother bear and her 4 cubs all the time.
I live-
Raccoons, skunks.
Yeah,
possum.
my backyard yesterday.
And I have 440-pound dogs and they don't care. So that again is irrelevant to me.
Very good. So, I think, did we cover all the information? that
Well,
we
the
had?
insect issue, and if it's inside the house. Could be a
Ants
moisture
and that.
issue. Ants come with water all the time in the older houses.
Yeah.
They come in my house.
Oh, thank
Trust
you.
me, I've spray foamed, I've done all that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, the same thing
I've
with my,
spent thousands. If the insects are inside the house, and I think that was discussed inside the home. if I
I
recall
think the
correctly.
testimony was that there's bugs in the house.
yeah,
Okay, so. They could be, depending on the bug, it could be moisture issue. It could be just because it's dry. I mean,
or they're looking for
But it
someplace
could
to
be
eat or,
cleanliness.
yeah.
We don't,
Housing
we
issue.
can't
again,
evaluate.
we haven't seen the inside of the house,
Right,
so we can't.
exactly.
assess
That's the problem. We don't. we haven't
None of
done-
those pictures were presented.
Yeah.
By either side.
Well, the other side couldn't present any pictures because they couldn't get inside. So does there anybody want to entertain a motion?
I make a motion that we,
Review this and then, reconvene next Thursday.
Yeah, so why don't we do this? You can continue the hearing and resume at your next regularly scheduled meeting, which is.
Next month.
Next month.
no.
No, we have a
no,
regular
no.
meeting in June.
Yeah, because this is the first week in June, so that's.
So what do-
the meeting is third week.
It's a third week, so we've got 2 more
Yeah.
weeks.
So you'll have a regular scheduled meeting the third week of June. You could have it on the agenda for completion that day. And if you feel that you need to discuss it further, you could discuss it further, but I think you probably should make a decision by that day. Because you have to make a
Because we have to
decision
make
within 21 days.
I agree.
Right.
No,
Yeah, we have to make a decision by 21 days, and that'll put us at 14 days from today, 2 weeks, 14 days.
Right, the next
So that'll
meeting would
give
be
us
on
a-
the 20th,
Yeah,
looking. at
we
the
have to
calendar.
make the decision or submit the decision.
we have to make a decision within the 21 days,
And
And then we
send,
have to send it to the city clerk
yes.
and then
right.
to the.
So you make the decision and send written notice to the parties within 21 days after making the decision. So the 21 days would start to run when you make the decision. It's just that it's in the interest of both sides to
Now,
get it
Mike,
decided
Can
quick.
we communicate by email or does that still have to
No,
be
You
public?
can't do that because
You can't,
under
this
the,
Okay,
has to
Right.
be an open
I
discussion.
understand that. That's
Right.
why I threw the question.
yeah, it's the whole freedom of information thing. And I know a lot of, even attorneys and people who do this think, wow, we don't want to deliberate in public. Say, well, the Freedom of Information Commission decided you have
Yeah,
to.
that's
So-
it,
But,
that's in
I have
that
no
book.
issue
so then if Travis and,
That could change the whole meeting.
Well, they can't
No,
participate.
that's right. 'cause they're
if
not
they
there.
watch this on a Zoom thing,
Well, they did.
They didn't.
They weren't.
They weren't.
They weren't here.
but this is being recorded, so if they wanted to watch
No,
it.
no,
No, because they can't ask a question.
Correct.
it's only you four who deliberate this complaint.
Okay.
Can we, before we make a decision, request or require a realtor of both parties choosing to go through the house and make an assessment as to what the proper or appropriate rent, no?
Because that comes under the investigation portion.
No one's doing this. You
No,
should
not-
be out gathering your own evidence, technically, you know, the parties are responsible for presenting the evidence for you to consider. You shouldn't be doing your own investigation, which is kind of what that would be. The only investigation piece is if there's, you know, alleged building code violations or health code violations, then you have the authority to send a building inspector or Torrington Area Health out.
And most of that comes with the original complaint, correct?
Normally you would
Yeah.
do that right up front, yeah.
Yeah, right up front.
So everybody has that at the hearing and the parties can digest it and do all that, so.
I can make a motion if you want to do it on.
Next scheduled meeting. I make a motion that we reconvene and discuss this and make a decision at our next meeting on June 20th.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, wait, discussion first. Discussion?
No.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? No. Okay, that.
Can I just ask one question?
Go ahead, ask the question.
Is Mr. Yurchik responsible for the May and June rent?
So, I think that's a question you should ask Attorney Eversol.
Okay.
But, you know, the decision that this commission makes is whether the requested increase is reasonable, under the circumstances. You know, whether he should still be paying the rent. I mean, I would have suggested to him if he had asked me that you should pay the rent.
And I'll make a note right now, you'll receive your 2 months, right?
That's between.
Anyway,
That's between you.
that's a thing to discuss with your attorney.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Ask a procedural question.
Mhm.
The next meeting, should we attend or we?
It's entirely up to you.
It's an open hearing, just as it is now.
You don't have to, the commission will not be hearing any more evidence, no more evidence, no more testimony. They're just gonna continue their deliberations.
Is to observe.
Very much for your time.
All right, so, right.
Right.
So you guys can stick around if you want, but the Yurchik versus Millerado hearing is closed for now.
Thank you all.
Mr. Reeves, thank you.
Thank you.
Mrs. Millerado, good luck.
Yes, good luck in your treatment.
Prayer for you.
Good luck with your health.
Hmm.
Went to high school with a Mary.
What year did you graduate?
Oh, 84.
You
In 84?
graduated in 84?
Did.
You could be my son.
I
I graduated
Like,
in
we was
95.
on Bar-
Guidance.
I lived in Garland.
With me on.
All right, we'll talk, we'll debrief this.
Yeah.
This is an
No,
example.
my parents passed away.
I take for now, you hang on to him.
I do.
My parents passed away, we had the house that sold on Martin Street,
Where was it? Which one was
100.
it? 100. I'll have to go.
Right next door to the Deepasitos and Lombardi's.
That's up.
You were a Lombardi?
The people
You could see it.
Well, Lombardi was my mom.
Right.
So I'm just gonna suggest that if you want to stick around, because we have another agenda item. And my wife is sitting out in the car in the parking lot waiting for me. So
Oh, so you want to
it's
go?
my ride
Well,
home.
tell her you're working hard.
All right. From
Thank
that
you.
portion.
Nice meeting
Thank
you.
you.
all.
Thanks.
Thank
Mr. Yurchik, good luck to you too. Thank you.
Good luck to your health.
I just had L345 back surge fusion with rods and screws. I'm moving, but not very good yet. Hopefully it'll get better.
Take care now.
Next item on the agenda. The lights should come on. They come on for you?
No, they
I
don't.
thank you
They're
all.
not automatic, they're not on
They're
sensor.
automatically shut off, like at 5:30.
Oh, it's a timer.
There's a button you push to turn them on.
Yeah, and I.
The attorney isn't.
Okay.
No,
Next
He's
item.
not going, I'm not going.
Excuse me.
You open that book.
All right, good.
All right,
What's the
so-
next?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Santiago.
you should not act so familiarly with the parties.
But I was praying.
My apologies.
Michael, I can say that. It's freedom of religion. Oh, my God.
It's,
No, we have another item on the agenda.
but it looks bad. It's just, you know, it gives the appearance of, of favoritism.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but any event, let's,
Okay, so it's Santiago case, the complaint against.
yeah, so I think at
35
this
Mall.
point, so I had emailed that out to
Right,
everybody
right.
and probably I should have followed up right then to say, do you want to do an investigation or do you just want to jump to a hearing? So has everybody reviewed it?
My question is, has the landlord responded to, do you know if that's taken place where?
You know, I have to say, I don't think it went to the landlord yet.
Well, if it did go to the landlord.
So we need to do that.
Involved in it.
Yeah, the landlord has to be notified and.
Right.
They have to try and resolve it before is brought to a public hearing.
Right,
This-
Santiago,
Okay, yeah, that's what I have right here.
right. So I think it fell through the cracks. So I guess what I can do tomorrow is send it out to the landlord.
But the tenant is supposed to try to resolve things with the landlord.
Yeah, they're both supposed to try to work it out.
Right.
Well, I thought that's how we left it, is that they were trying to work it out.
No, I didn't know that they.
No, it didn't go. I mean, on the surface of it, I didn't see how it came under a fair rent complaint anyway.
Yeah, there's
Right.
not actually a true, if I remember correctly, it's a
She's not,
a housing issue. There's no change in the rent.
No, with the brother breathing
Right.
and the dog and
Right,
smoking
Right.
and blah, blah,
And there's no true changes in the,
which has nothing to do
In
with
the
it.
services.
That be a health department issue if it's a breathing issue and a health issue?
yeah, there's a different body that deals with housing complaints,
yeah.
which is what a fair housing complaint or something like that.
Correcting housing.
I think, and I think that might be why it slipped through the cracks because I think she called the mayor's office first and talked to Marette or Barbara's and gave them their whole story. I can't remember, but I think Marette told her,
She can't sleep in her room due to smoking, she has a breathing issue.
I think Marette told her, it doesn't sound really like a fair rent issue. Sounds like a different issue.
So she should have went to housing or health.
Should have done something like
there
that.
is a,
And you guys could decide that, I think, right? So I guess let's do this. So tomorrow I'll mail out a copy of the complaint to the landlord. And maybe we'll put it back on the agenda for the 20th and talk about it then. But again, I think it's feasible for you to review it and say, this does not raise a fair rent commission issue. Except that part of the Fair Rent Commission, that the statute and the regulations that say that it doesn't just have to be an increase in the rent. It could be a removal of services. So for example, it used to be your heat and hot water is included, and now we're pulling it.
Mhm.
But I don't think it even said anything like that.
No.
She's complaining about the windows being drafty, that other tenants are smoking,
nails in the driveway or something. and
right? It
It
doesn't,
just,
That has nothing to do with
there
it.
was no true change in service.
right. And so that's why, let me think about it. So I think we'll send it to the landlord, but I don't see any reason why you couldn't, when you review an initial complaint, make the determination that it doesn't implicate a fair rent issue at all.
Right.
We should have signed a number though.
They got a number,
Okay,
Yeah.
fine,
FRC 24-4.
okay.
All right, so we'll have it on the agenda for that meeting, and I just kind of toss that out as something, maybe take a closer look at it, and you may come to that meeting and just decide that. So I'll send it to the landlord anyway, but it could be that at that meeting,
I think that's where it's gonna lead to though.
What?
What I read and I just scanned through again, it looks like a health issue.
right.
And that,
Whether it be disgruntled tenants, again, that has nothing to
Right.
do with us.
So let's
No.
make that decision on June 20th. But again, I think under our rules, just because it says we'll send it to the landlord, let them reply. And even if we do that, you can always send out a notice that says, you've determined that this doesn't raise a fair rent
Or
issue.
maybe if the landlord knows, maybe the landlord will do something
Yeah.
that will appease her complaints.
Yeah.
Besides,
You know
Right
what?
now, he has no notice of a complaint,
Oh,
so he can't make repairs or changes. Correct.
So,
Okay, we about, motion to close the meeting.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion?
no.
All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, we're off the record.
Well, we got one